What I'd like to say that I think needs to be kept in mind, and it's easy to lose the picture when you listen to some folks here, is that the Navy on this project is, and should be, heavily regulated and heavily inspected. And you can talk to any of our regulators at any time about this. They regularly inspect the island, and they make sure that we are adhering to some very rigorous standards. But there's very little about the program that's arbitrary, whether it comes to the Air Quality Management District rules that we're following, or our procedures in the way we sort material, or the testing that we do. It's all per protocols, environmental regulations, both at the federal, the state, and sometimes the local levels. And then when we go out into the field, it's clear that we are regularly inspected. This is something that you would expect from a program. But sometimes I sense, and if you were to just walk into the meeting, you might get the idea that there is something arbitrary about this. There's nothing arbitrary about any of the rules that Chris has suggested, or that Chris presented, rather. And we follow those rules. What we don't do is make up rules for a project or proceed without the approval of regulatory agencies, who then go out into the field and inspect us regularly, check data, and ensure that the Navy is adhering to standards. And that's really the requirement of the Navy, to clean up the island according to standards and according to rules and regulations.
But they're not watching TIDA, and they're not watching John Stewart, and they're not following regulation. And you should be embarrassed. I don't doubt that you have to answer to someone, but they should have to answer to someone, and you are allowing them to lease that and lease it to the public. And the regulators are not tracking them.
Okay, well,
this is where the problem is.
Well,
you may
if that is indeed where the problem is, then I think you need another forum to address it, and certainly a different audience, because that certainly, I'm glad you're agreeing with me, that certainly is not relevant to the Navy program as we're addressing it here.
You and the regulators need to stand up with TIDA and the city and the mayor of this city and all of the people responsible for this being leased while this is going on. That's all of you need to take that responsibility together. If you indeed work together, then you need to do that once again for this community and for the city, and it needs to be televised, period. That is how you take full responsibility and prepare this city for full transparency, because this is not happening. If they're digging in front of my yard and you're not there, and you're not coming in and testing my water in my unit when the sewage backs up for the 4th time, someone is not doing their job. You cannot deny that.
Okay, thank you very much for your comment, Kathryn. I appreciate that. Okay, with that, Alice, I think we should adjourn meeting number 179. This Restoration Advisory Board meeting is hereby adjourned. I look forward to seeing you on October 31st for the 2nd annual bus tour at Treasure Island, and then I also look forward to seeing the RAD members at the December 8th RAD meeting.